Welcome, everyone. This is the MasterClass. My name is Patricknazareth. I have around 30 years of teaching experience, and I would like to help dispel your doubts, should you have any. Today, we look at the poem Childhood, written by Markus Natten. Markus Natten was a Norwegian poet born on March 14, 1917 at Oslo, Norway. He writes poems of an introspective and contemplative nature. His favorite theme is the human condition. Very little is known about him and his life. His poems have been translated from the Norwegian to the English language. When did my childhood go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography and therefore could not be? Was that the day? The poet asks a deep question, wondering where his childhood has gone. He casts his mind back to a time at the age of 12 when he realized that hell and heaven are not places that can be found on an atlas, that can be found on a map. He is no longer a child because a child thinks literally, thinking that heaven and hell are real places. He now realizes these are not real but abstract, and we talk about them because we try to make a child understand the difference between right and wrong. When did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? The poet asks again, when did I lose my childhood? Was it the day I realized that these adults whom I idolized, whom I looked up to, whom I listened to, they speak falsehoods? When they say that they love, or when they talk about love, they are essentially lying because their actions do not match their words. They say something and do something entirely different. Maybe that was the day I lost my childhood. When did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine, to use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people, but my own and mine alone? Was that the day? The poet asks a third time, what happened to his childhood? Did he lose his childhood the day he realized that he was a unique living being, that he had thoughts of his own, that he did not need to think the way, say, his father thought, or his mother thought, or his uncles thought, or anyone else thought, that he could form his own opinions about a subject? He could have his own opinions on something that maybe would be different from the people around him? Was the day that the poet realized that he could have thoughts of his own, that he could have a mind of his own, was that the day he lost his childhood? It went to some forgotten place that is hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. Where did my childhood go? From asking questions about when his childhood went, he asks a very fundamental question. Where did the childhood go after all? And he gives an answer. It went to some place I don't even remember. But I see it time to time again. Where does he see his childhood? He sees his childhood in a child's face. In other words, the poet is trying to tell us that childhood doesn't really vanish. It is there all the time with us. It's just that childhood comes again and again. Maybe not for us, but for a newborn child, or a child growing up. The themes that run through this poem then, the loss of innocence. The poet has a feeling of nostalgia. He remembers the way things were when he was a child. He was happy. But suddenly, everything changed. He doesn't even understand when it changed. He just realizes that somewhere around his 12th birthday, he found that his thoughts had changed. He went from being a child to a young adult. The poem also deals with how being an adult disillusions you. Many of the things that you thought were black and white, many of the things that you thought were right and wrong when you were a child, which was explained to you that this is wrong and this is right, and you will get punished if you do this, you will get rewarded if you do this, in fact, do not hold the same meaning when you are an adult. He is not happy being an adult. He would have preferred being a child. but people have to grow up. That's the lesson there for you. I do hope I have been of some help. If I have, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Remember, there might be others who would need our help. Thank you for watching along.